Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Just Jelly here. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe and like this video because you're gonna like it already. This week has definitely been difficult, as we all know. The death of George Floyd. I don't know that man from Adam, but at the end of the day, I'm a part of the Black community, and it's just another representation of just the Black experience, especially of the Black man. And I saw the video, and just watching all the reports and everything come out and just kind of following along with the story. And it's just like, once again, it's like I'm on my knees thanking God that that wasn't my father, thanking God that that wasn't my brother, and it's just really hard to digest and really hard to process. And many times, if you don't watch your heart, you'll begin to hate. And that's the last thing that is fruitful, and that is the last thing that will do any change. Because once you just find yourself hating, you'll be acting on your feelings instead of acting on the knowledge that in which you can interpret from these situations. And so just in this video, the two main things that I would really just as a call to action whenever you're understanding these events and you're processing these things, two solutions I may say is to, one, be educated, and to two, remember that there's power in your prayer. And I know that sounds so lightly, but I will discuss it in just a second. So when it comes to just understanding the importance, I think, of knowledge and not just reacting on what you see, to understand the reality of what's going on is we see the videos of deaths and we see the videos of brutality, but at the end of the day, that's just an overall manifestation of what's been happening, right? Of what's been happening, but subliminally, as far as there's such a thing as illicit racism that's being taught through a narrative born and bred in homes. Parents are telling their children, children are telling their children, and so forth and so forth. And there's microaggressions that happen, and it's so subliminal that there wouldn't be a huge newscast. There's not large riots. Just if a white woman comes up and talks and says to me, "Oh, your hair is so beautiful for you to be a Black girl," or something like that, and that is just an example of a microaggression. And that's why I just think that it's just so important to be educated, because if you don't have an ear for these things, if you don't understand that there's little things that are being just put in our society via the societal institutions like the government and media, and just the large states of authority that continue to suppress our people, that if we don't step up in the way of knowledge and of understanding, we're not gonna there's not going to be an effective manner in which we approach the situation, which I believe is what's going on now. Is we see violence, so we're reacting in violence. And the people who are just involving themselves in the looting and the just volatile rioting, I do not agree with, just because I believe it's further hindering our own communities, where I don't live there. I don't claim to be in that community, but just understanding that resources are already limited, and as we speak out, let's just speak out effectively and not speak out in a way that is continually just hurting ourselves, in the manner of just limiting our own resources, taking our own stores. I just really don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, I understand it in the way that, because people, just like people say, you hear all the time, hurt people. So because we are so hurt, these people are their feelings are overcoming really intellect, really, is what I would say. So I just think that all the violence that you see occurring is a manifestation of hurt and of pain, and ultimately, like I said before, hatred. So I would really just advise to not let your heart be full of hatred, because at the end of the day, love casts out all fear, and the mighty power of God, just allow him to continue to comfort your heart. And I know that's a lot harder for those who are actually personally affected. Like I said before, I haven't had a family member, glory be to God, praise God, hurt or physically subdued under police brutality, but I have been just praying very hard, because at the end of the day, like, that's literally the only thing that I can do. And that goes to my next point, that remember that there's power in your prayer. There is a understanding that which is rightfully so, that be able to protest. You should be able to speak out and share your voice, which I absolutely believe in, which is a solid reason why I'm creating this video. But I do think that there is a pressure in a way that people are saying, oh, you have to do it in this way, in this manner. No, which meaning like, it's like I start to feel, oh, if I'm not protesting, then I'm not doing something. If I'm not standing out there on the streets with a sign in my hand, then I'm not a part of the conversation, which I think is false. But I do think that it's becoming a pressure to do. And so when I was praying about this, I'm like, God, like, I'm not there in Minneapolis. I'm not there in the cities who are involving themselves in a protest. And then it came to this week that, or even today, that there's gonna be a protest 10 minutes away from my house. I'm like, oh, great. But the problem is that there's been so much violence and there's just been so much chaos going on that I don't feel safe trying to step out and allow and like let my voice be heard in the streets. So praise God for the internet, and that's what a lot of people are doing, which I definitely agree with. Like, if you have a platform, whether it's on social media, put your platform out there and kind of just like speak out against on that platform. But also I just had to say, like, I don't feel safe going out and protesting, because it's like, what about my life? Like, I still have, you still have to care for yourself. And God has had to remind me that, daughter, there's power in your prayer, that at the end of the day, that your prayer is stronger than any protest. Some of you may not agree, but I would just have to say that whenever you're praying, you're not just calling on someone who may or may not be able to help you. You're not just calling on a man who may or may not judge you. You're not just calling on an emergency institution that may or may not get to you in time. You're calling on the Creator. You're calling on the one who has the power over all. You're calling on. And like, even I can't be there. I can't be there helping my brother and helping my sister of my community. But God is. Praise God for His omnipresence, right? So I just think sometimes we forget the real power of God. Like, our minds can't even comprehend how powerful He is. And so I just think that He's really been encouraging me. I don't know, like, literally I've kind of just been all over the place with my emotions, because it just, obviously it's very frustrating. It's very heavy, and through my tears, through my crying, just through the pain that I'm allowing myself to feel, just my heart breaking for those families that are affected. God has really just been comforting me and reminding me that there's power in your prayer. And a lot of people take prayer lightly, as if, I'm like I said before, as if I'm calling on 911. No, you're calling on the King of all kings, the Lord of all lords. You're calling on the one who still sits on the throne, because at the end of the day, love will conquer and has conquered hate. His strength is immeasurable. And a lot of times we want to take matters into our own hands, but I mean, when it's out of your control, you have to remember, you can't take it into your own hands, because you're not in control anyway. So I just think that the next time you think that, oh, there's nothing that I can do, remember that you can take at least you can take 5 minutes, you can take 2 minutes, and just pray to God against the hatred, pray to God against the ignorance that lives in people's hearts, pray to God against those who think themselves better. Pray against all the systems that continue to keep our people oppressed, and just remember to give grace, because at the end of the day, if that man had any grace in his heart, then he would have known, okay, he might have done whatever they claimed he would have done, but he would have given grace to not take a life so easily, as which, like, the way he did. So that's all I really have to say. I'm just really encouraging you guys to really just depend on God, especially in such a heavy time, and such a heavy season, with everything in the midst of a pandemic, and not to mention all of the other situations going on in the world. There's still sex trafficking, there's still drug abuse, there's still people trying to cross the border looking for some kind of refuge, and not given that refuge, just because of once again, of their ethnicity, of who they are. So I just pray that, as one, to just be overwhelmed and overconsumed with all the things going on in the world, make sure you take a second and just get on your knees, get into the presence of the Lord, and allow Him to just comfort you, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing. Let Him just really just wrap his love and His wisdom around you. so that you are able to really assess the situation and interpret it the way that God would want you to see it. So this is just really just to encourage you guys. I hope that you guys have gotten something from it. I hope that it's enlightened or encouraged anyone who's watching. So once again, just make yourself educated and really just remember the power of your prayer. Thank you so much for watching. We'll just continue to pray that God's presence is just seen through all of this horridness, because at the end of the day, God is still sitting on the throne and he still reigns. So just don't forget, the darker it gets, the brighter you shine, because the power of God is unlimited. Thank you guys for watching, and please come back for my next video.